it's your girl, Crystal Power. Thank you so much for tuning into my vlog. I just wanted to take a moment and express to inspire. And I pray that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, that you find something, that you hear something, that you see something that is inspiring to you. And not only inspiring to you to hit the like button or hit the share button or even make a comment, but inspires you to make a change in your life for the better. I have been so inspired by so many different people, and I'm a firm believer of paying it forward and sending the elevator back down. So my vlog is my payment forward as well as my elevator back down to somebody else that it may lift them up. So on my journey thus far to becoming a DP, I have so much information and so many things to update you guys on. I don't know where to start. So I'm just gonna start here. The journey to becoming a DP has been good. It's been good, it's been fearful, it has stretched me, it has made me grow, it has increased my faith. It's definitely increased my faith. There are a lot of adjectives that I could use to describe how my journey has been, but most importantly, I have been encouraged to keep going. I have been encouraged to not give up. I have been encouraged to press forward. So, but one thing that I have noticed along this journey, I am meeting some amazing people. And the interesting thing about it is, so far, some of the amazing people I have met, they are nowhere to be found on social media. Like, they don't do social media. They may have like a Facebook page that they don't use anymore, or that, you know, they're just not into social media, which is cool. Not saying that everybody has to be into social media, but they just don't do social media. So I got the idea. I was like, well, you have so much information, you have so much, you know, knowledge and wisdom. There's so many people that would love to hear what you have to say, that need to hear what you have to say, but you're nowhere to be found, like in cyberspace. So then I got the great idea to put the people on my vlog. I have everything I need to make it happen, so why not make it happen? The first person that I met that really struck me to do this idea was the person that I'm about to show you guys now. I met this person on a show that I was working on. She was actually my boss's boss, so she was actually the boss. And she just intrigued me. The way she carried herself, the way she handles herself, the way she handles people, the way she handles business, it was very inspiring. And I was like, I have to sit down with you. Out of her ridiculously busy schedule, she was gracious enough to agree to sit down with me and just share her journey with me, share her story with me, how she started in the industry, where she ended up, how she ended up there. No matter where you are, no matter what field you work in, it's all wisdom that we can take with us. So here is my first interview. I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Montez, Monroe, producer.
First and foremost, thank you so much for doing this. I know you're super busy.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Line producer is one that manages the production. You're hired by the studio. You are taking care of managing the production as far as the budget, overseeing the schedule, dealing with the actors, and every aspect of the production.
Nothing to think about?
Not at all.
Nothing?
And that, folks, is the lovely Tasha.
Hi.
Number one.
I'm not taking all this home. Actually,
Yes,
I'm
he
only
is.
taking that one, okay? I don't want y'all to be thinking I'm coming up in here trying to ransack production, okay?
Don't worry, because I got about 6 wings out in my car.
I love you. Give me a kiss.
Bye, sweetie.
I can't leave without
Thank you, my
sugar.
number one.
Mwah. I
My
love you
number
so
one
much.
director.
Mwah.
Mwah. She's
You're
the
my
best.
number one. You're the best. You're an amazing
You know
producer.
what?
You keep
That's
it
my
good.
number
You keep
one.
it straight though. You don't be playing though. You be cute and smiling all that, but honey, when it's time for that business, if it ain't right, you be shutting it down.
I know.
You know how to shut it down, but I love it. I love it, because you
Everything
can
is
shut it
all
down with a smile too. My kind of girl.
Hi, girl.
Bye,
Have a
y'all.
good night.
Okay.
All right. Get some rest.
I worked for ATF, and that's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So I used to, while I was in school, I worked part-time at the Chief Counsel's office in New York at the World Trade Center. And part of my job was putting together the trial paperwork, putting together their court paperwork. And so I was good at it and preparing legal documents. They wanted to pay for me to go to law school, but I, basically wanted to study film, and that was my desire. I wanted to go into the film industry, and so I didn't want to do law. Working as an office PA on Vampire in Brooklyn. I started off in the business, went to Howard University, HU, film school, and from there, interesting is that I heard about a film, Vampire in Brooklyn, which Eddie Murphy was producing and acting in. So went to LA, ran into him at a restaurant there, went up to him and said, I want to work on your film. And didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I want to work on your film. So after him giving me the number to his production company and me calling for 3 months straight, sending my resume, almost 4 times a day and calling them to make sure they got it, I finally got a call back saying that if you want a job, you got to be here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And I said, okay, where's here? And they were like, Paramount Studios, you got to be here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I was like, okay, I'll be there. Well, I was in Washington, D.C. at the time and had no idea as to how I was going to get to LA. Hadn't booked a ticket, no clothes packed, nothing. So went out, got the biggest duffel bag, army fatigue duffel bag that I can find, and packed up all my clothes and got on the first flight, red-eye flight, landed in LA, rented a car, and went straight to the studio. I had just graduated from Howard. I was early 20s, like 22 or something like that. I always knew that I wanted to be in the industry. I just didn't know. Well, I didn't know. It was either directing or dealing with the finance. I was always good at managing and managing money. I was always great at that. And numbers. So when I realized that, yes, you can direct, but the one that really controls it all is the producer. And I was like, that is me. I get to tell a director that we need to move on, or we can't do that, or he can't have. Yeah, I need to be that person in control. Experience in the field led me to that position. I worked very closely with the unit production manager at the time, and just wanted to learn every aspect of the business. Wanted to learn the job positions of everybody on that crew, what everyone did, what the budget, how to get to the numbers, what equipment costs, what was the equipment, how they went about scheduling, how the actors deals. So what I used to do is that I was working as the office PA, and a lot of confidential information was passed by me and that I had to copy. So I would make my little copies, and I'll go home and study it, and have my little notebook that I used to refer to and read, and that's how I found out information, that propelled me in the industry quickly. There's so many different things. One is that I think that if I was in a 9 to 5 job, I would be so bored. I like the challenges. I like solving things. I love problem solving. And every day that I show up to work, and although we may have a schedule and, we've thought about it and planned it and everything else, the slightest little thing can change all of that and get you spinning. And it's part of your job to still make sure that we are able to film within a certain amount of hours. We're still managing, we're staying on schedule, we're getting everything that we're supposed to get, and we're running a safe set. There's so many aspects of all of that, and just knowing the moving pieces of it all and being a part of that is what gets me every day and wakes me up to want to go to work. One of my mentors was Nan Morales. I met her on my first job at Paramount Studios, working on Vampire in Brooklyn. And part of this was back in the day before, really sending out call sheets via email and everything else. You had to hand deliver a hard copy to every single executive and every single body on a lot. And, so everybody that you send these emails, you just hit one button. We had to manually physically take it to their office every single day. And so it was great because you got to interact personally with each person and have a conversation and strike up conversations with them. And they got to meet you as an individual. And so I remember going to her office every day. I would go in, always say hello and strike up conversations and, more on a personal level rather than on a, seeking a job or a position. And so she sort of took to me. And she became my mentor, and she was like, would call me, off time when I wasn't working just to find out what I'm up to. And I remember her telling me one time, she said, this business is not about your resume and sending it around, because it could be sent to somebody and they're not going to know who you are. It's all about networking. We would often talk outside of work or just spend time in her office, just sitting and having conversations. And she would often say to me, you can send your resume to people, and they're not going to know who you are. The way that you get it into a job and to prevail in this industry is by networking, word of mouth. And your reputation is everything. So one thing that she told me, and I still do to this day, is that never call someone when you're looking for a job. Call someone when you have a job. Because then you're letting them know, hey, this is what I'm up to. And they're going to keep you in mind. So when you always call someone when you need something, that's when they're not going to take your phone call. But if you call them and just have a personal conversation, hey, how you been doing, the first thing they're going to ask you is, what are you up to these days? And they're going to be more willing to want to look out for you for their next project. Because the next question they're going to ask you is, after what are you up to? And you're going to say, oh, I'm doing so and so and so. Well, when do you finish that? That's your end. So that's how you go about networking. Always call when you have a job already and you're on a project, not when you're looking for one. I had an incident on a film. Some years ago, I was working very early on in my career. Actually, 2 incidents. One was a Me Too moment, where I had someone that was in a pretty powerful position on the film, and I was working as a PA, and sort of approached me in an inappropriate way, and I didn't know how to handle it. because I was just, starting out in the business and so on. And I had told someone in the office, and they went and told this producer, and he basically went to that person and told him that he didn't care that he was in the position that he was in, that he would basically fire him and shut down the whole production if it needs to get someone, until he finds someone to replace him. And at the time I was like, wow, I'm just a PA, and oftentimes you find yourself, well, when I started off in the business, very limited amount of minorities, and especially African Americans in the business. So it was one of those moments where I was, afraid to say something, because one, African American, working on this film, and was afraid to say something because I was afraid of losing my job. But when that producer basically said that to him, it made me feel like, you know what, you're just as important as anyone else on this project. So that was one incident. The other one was a racist incident where a director, I was the only, again, African American working on the show, and he had an issue with the bathrooms in the production. And we were like, okay, we'll get them cleaned. And he was like, no, I want you to clean them. And I was like, excuse me? So I'm in the sea of, in the office among all white, and I'm the only African American, and he says to me, he wants me to clean the bathrooms. And at that moment, I was like, wow, the way I handled that, because I could have clearly went off on him. Clearly went off on him. But the way I handled that is that basically I called the producers in the office. I called the studio executive and insisted that we have a meeting, and with him in the office. And at that time I didn't tell him what it was about, but we needed to address this. And so we addressed it, and that director, let's just say afterwards, he wasn't let go. He apologized, but didn't have any career after that with that studio. And I formed a relationship with that studio, with that executive who came in and flew in to deal with the situation. So sometimes we have to learn how to deal with adversity in such a way, whether it's a Me Too issue or it's a, you're definitely in this industry, you're going to sometimes get challenged. One, with me being a producer, African American, a woman, on top of it, I find that people often question you. And it's, a thing of questioning me and my experience. And then some may not think that I'm the age that I am and think that I'm young. And then they're like, oh, wait, she's how old? And, and she has this amount of experience, she's done this. And then when I start basically telling them about their job and what they need to do and how to get around, and they're like, okay, So there's different ways of handling things. And one is to be professional. I always say outsmart the smarter. There's always ways. And the other thing is killing with kindness. I come back and I don't get upset. I don't yell. I don't scream. You're not going to find me fussing. And sometimes you can come off in a way where it comes across very clear what you want, and that's by your posture. your voice changes, and then a smile comes over my face. And so it is very clear. And the friend and the first AD who we're working with right now, he says, "Uh-oh, I know that look." And it's just like, it's I guess I have a look. I need to pull the mirror out to see the look. But there's a look that comes over when I'm like, I'm serious. But then, there's a part of me of, we work very long hours, and you spend more time with your production, as I call it, your production family, than sometimes your own family. And just like your regular family, you're gonna not get along sometime, not agree on every single thing. There's gonna be disagreements. But one of the things that on all of the productions that I've worked on, is that I want us all to get along, and I want us to be able to laugh and have fun doing it. We don't always need to be serious, but when we need to buckle down and get the work done, we do it. And we're doing it because we love being here together. So that's how I like to run a production. I want to produce more female, as well as, very diverse content, film as well as TV. And then from there, just basically helping people get into the industry, and really just be doing volunteer work. That's after a certain time, you're like, in this business, I feel like, what is your purpose? And so my purpose was to work in this industry, make some changes, which I feel like I have. And then from there, helping others achieve theirs. And if that's on a volunteer purpose or anything else, then I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily have to make the money to continue to do this. One is because I have this thing, and I think I said it at the beginning of production, and I stand by it. And that is that everyone in that office, everyone on this production, I don't expect anyone to be at the same position in a couple of years. I want to see people grow and reach their goals. And I want them, they don't have a goal, I want you to achieve or to decide on a goal for this. While you're with me, I want to hear a goal. And the one thing that I always say when I walk into any office or work with anybody is that if you haven't learned anything while working with me, then I failed you. And I mean that because there's so many things that we all are in this business to learn. And if there's one thing or question that I can answer or advise you, steer you, I may not have the answer, but I'm gonna find out for you. I'm gonna help you get the answer and learn more about it. So, but I wanna see that passion, that growth in a person. And it almost goes back to what, old wives' tales that they used to say, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. Well, if someone says to you, I want you to learn and let me know when you want to sit down. And I think that's the first thing I said when we were in the office, is that I want to spend time with each one of y'all so that we can have time, and I want to know what you want to do. And we're going to learn that throughout this production. I don't want just, working as one. I don't look at anyone as just an office PA, just a production secretary. We're all individuals that's striving to get to somewhere. And so because of that, I want to see everyone in there reach their goals, and I want to help them get there. So if it means, hey, Montez, I want to do this or I want to do that, then okay, let's figure out how you're gonna do it. So when you approached me about doing this blog, knowing that I don't like being on camera and answering questions, I felt that I have to, because this is your start of what you want to do. So anything that I can do to help is what I want to do. All right, y'all. See ya. All right, you gonna let me in? Turn the camera off.